State your name, please.
Eddie Robertson, coach.
Eddie, it's been a few months now since you stopped with coaching. How have the last few months been?
Yeah, it has. It's been strange. It's been such a big part of my life for quite a while now, playing and coaching. So the time apart was, yeah, it's been really good. Been able to reflect, recharge, and yeah, I've got some opportunities that I'm looking forward to exploring in the year, and yeah, a bit of time away from the sport's been good.
What are those opportunities that you're excited about exploring?
Some of them off the course, some of them just being able to travel a little bit more, see my friends, take a bit more me time. So those things have been important, of course. And then a little bit more of my own development as a coach and tapping into some of the networks that I've been able to establish and create over the last few years. And yeah, just visit some good people and learn a bit more about how they do things and add to my own skill set.
Talk to me about how you first got into futsal coaching. Where did that aspiration come from?
I think when I started playing, it was largely due to the fact I could play in goal and use my feet a little bit more with the smaller goals. And it was just different. I was just excited by it, but I never could envisage being a coach. But opportunity comes, and a few years later, at Teesside Uni, I managed to get injured in a game, and it was bad. And I was the sort of person where I was really invested in the team, the group, and what we were trying to do, and I wanted to be there at the games, whether I was able to play or not. And yeah, I was sat on the bench, and we were getting beat, or we weren't doing too great. And yeah, I was sat on the bench, and I think that lasted a total of 2 minutes. And I just stood up, and I just started making these little shouts, these little reminders, and it felt natural. And I saw some immediate returns. I saw people that looked and went, yeah, got you, and players that did things. And I just had the conversations with people, whether little pep talks, little boosts, little bits that I've observed on the other team, or anything, these little things, and it just felt so natural. And I got an immediate reaction from, at the time, it was teammates, and it just developed, and I just felt there was something there to explore. I felt a deeper connection to the game that I ever did as a player through coaching, and it wasn't even really coaching necessarily, or not in a formal capacity anyway. And yeah, over the summer, the Teesside Uni, they were looking for a futsal coach, and I'd finished my level 2, and I was encouraged to apply for the experience of the application and the process of it all. I questioned if I was the right person for the job. I was convinced by the institution, by some of the players that we'd had there ready to go, and I guess one thing that I never doubted was that there is no one more passionate, no one who was willing to go to the lengths I was for us to be successful. And that's the one thing that I certainly never doubted. I went for it, and we had a really successful year. And it wasn't without lows, but it was really successful, and I enjoyed it. And unfortunately, we were halted through COVID, and I was at a point with my university degree that I needed to focus on that a little bit more. So potentially COVID came if there was ever an opportune time, I suppose, it came at a time where I could focus on myself and I could sort of reflect on the journey. So that was really good, really enjoyed that. And then post-COVID, the opportunity to join Newcastle came up, and I definitely had zero reservations or doubts about my own abilities with that one.
Where does that self-belief and that passion come from, in terms of yourself? What is it inside you that gives you that much belief that, yeah, there was no one better suited to the role than you?
I think because there is no one like me. There is no one who's had the life experiences I have. There's no one who wants people to feel safe, to feel appreciated, to feel like they're a part of something. I always looked for that, and then when I started coaching, I felt like I was a part of something. I loved that, And futsal was a game where it offered me opportunities where football maybe had closed the door. And I love that, and I want other people to feel that love that I felt from the game. But also, futsal has saved me from a really dark place along the way. And there was a point in my life that was the only thing that mattered. And I will always be grateful, and I will always pay that back. And I know that if other people are in dark places, or if other people are in a place they need something to buy into, to love, to feel invincible, or to feel so vulnerable, it was a game that gave me so much. I wanted to kind of integrate as many people into that as possible, so they could have the emotions that I've had over the years.
What was your style of play at Newcastle, and how did that come about? Did it evolve from your time at Teesside University? Was there a progression there? Talk to me about that.
There was definitely an evolution. I feel with each team I've had, there's been an evolution, whether it's been more significant or more subtle. I think there's definitely been some consistency though along the way. I think there was parts that I loved about my Teesside team. We had technically gifted players across the board, a team that was performing divisions above where they were competing. So my job was to identify those strengths and bring them to the fore as often as possible. And for a lot of the time at Teesside, we had so much control because teams knew of our quality, so teams sat deep. So that provided a different challenge as opposed to if we were pressed high all season. So a lot of the time it was getting the ball wide, getting our players in 1v1 situations and letting them show how good they are. And a lot of the time it was about control, it was about patience, and that continued when I went to Newcastle. Because again, we had some very experienced players, but some very, very gifted players. So we wanted to get them in similar situations where they could exploit the opposition and we could show our best quality as much as possible. But I feel like what changed at Newcastle was there was certainly an evolution in terms of how we defended and how aggressive we were, and we wanted to force as many turnovers as possible, and we wanted to get the opponents thinking with the ball at their feet, which we identified in the league we were in, that the more we got oppositions thinking about the passes they had to make and the movements they had to make, the more they hesitated. So we had a psychological edge, as well as with our intensity and our self-belief, we took advantage of that as often as possible. So it definitely, there was some consistencies, but it did evolve, and it had to evolve with the different personalities and the different qualities that were at my disposal. But there was definitely some overlap, and there was some consistencies between them. But I feel like for me as a coach, when in my second year at Newcastle, there was a significant overhaul, and it was a chance for me to recruit the players that I felt could demonstrate the style of play that we needed and that I felt was going to help us be successful. And we created a lot of players. We recruited a lot of players, that were brave, wanted the 1v1 duels. They were strong, they were good on both feet, and they could be intelligent and demonstrate their understanding of the game as often as possible. I think in terms of my style in the Premier, we integrated the fly goalkeeper quite a lot due to the league requiring that almost at times, be it for control, which has its consistency with me previously, but also one of the things that I really enjoyed was creating overloads in each third of the court, whether that be a 2v1 or whether that be a 3v2 or a 2v1 in the final third. Wherever it was, we wanted to create overloads and we wanted to use our dualities to our advantage, so we could get as many goal scoring opportunities as possible and give ourselves the ball in the positions on the court that would allow us to be successful and score. So there was definitely some consistencies. I think in terms of our off the ball style, I always wanted my teams to be aggressive, to be on the front foot and to pressure high. There's moments we need to be more conservative, of which I had to identify those moments to be, to operating on half court or a third of the court, or when we go full. And sometimes that was based on the opposition, sometimes it was due to the state of the game or the depth we had available in terms of substitutions. So there's all those different variables that I had to consider, but I feel like for the most part we were able to play the way I'd like us to play and play the way that I think is most enjoyable for the group and that elicited their strengths, certainly.
Thank you so much for this season. I know it's not always in the easiest with me, but thank you so fucking much. I'm so proud to be a coach, so proud to be a part of every step of the journey, and so proud of what you've shown there. And every other week with that passion, that intense, that fire, for every first, second, third ball. Okay, yes, there's ups and downs. This is certainly enough, and I want you to enjoy every second of today. Every single second. Professional, clinical, confident, composed, excellent. Well done, guys. We're in the quarter-final. 2, 1, 2, 3.
What do you think the perception was of you at the time as the coach?
From the group?
Yes.
It's hard to say. I feel the group knew how much I love the game, the group knew how devoted I was to the process, the group knew me. So in terms of their perception of me, I think my passion was playing for everyone to see, and a lot of the players bought in. A lot of the players loved it. A lot of the players also knew I was a bit nuts. And I think a lot of the players like that. Maybe it's not for everyone, but I feel like who I am and trying to be authentic with the group and be honest to who I am as a person, I'd like to think it was something the players felt comfortable around. I'd like to think it was a way the players could be more relaxed, enjoy the sessions, enjoy working with me. I'd like to think so. Maybe not for everyone, but for the most part, I think there was a respect there.
Sum up your time at Newcastle Uni as the futsal coach.
I think it was a beautiful mess. It was a beautiful mess. In that first year, there was probably so little I could do wrong. I think the whole club we just won. We were just good. We all clicked. I don't know what it was. The club were ready for a little bit of guidance and structure, men's and women's, and it just worked. It clicked, and I was so blessed for the success and the love that I felt. It wasn't without its messy moments. It wasn't without the odd argument along the way. It wasn't without the odd bit of embarrassment, which is just part and parcel of it. And then different groups, different players, different challenges. Yeah, some of it was messy. Some of it was outstanding. And I guess probably the biggest frustration with the last year was that there was moments we were pulling teams apart, particularly the men's, and we just couldn't put the ball in the net at the end of it. So it was certainly beautiful at points, and there was moments where I did often remind the group and say, like, think about last year. Look how far we've come. Look at the things we're doing. Look at the confidence that we're doing it with. Look at the flexibility that you have in terms of the systems you play, the style you play, whether it's direct, whether we go through, around, over, the control we can have. And I think that there was a lot of positives. So yeah, it was beautiful for a lot of it, but yeah, there was mess, it was chaos, there was some low moments. It just, that's the game. I guess that's a good summary of it. It was a beautiful mess.